Welcome back to Game Day Jays. I'm your host, Nick Jambrosic, and what a week it has been. When it rains, it pours, and we didn't only have rain, we had a side of hail, we had tornadoes, we had flying freaking cows, and everything in between. We're not only struggling with starting pitching, which has been our only saving grace this year, but our offense was nowhere to be found as usual up until a couple games. Way too many errors. Our defense has been trash, which, again, is one of the better things that we're good at. Our coaching was diabolical because who in their right mind would pinch hit Springer when you have the likes of, a Relvis Martinez on the bench or some of these other young kids? But oh, wait, after 2 games in the big leagues, he gets booked for PEDs. I mean, how big of an idiot can you possibly be in this day and age? I don't care what sport you play, you are getting tested on the regular, not once, but multiple times every single season. I don't care what it is. If you'd want to take a new vitamin, if you're taking any medication, if you're putting anything into your body at all, have your team test it and approve it. Simple as that. He knows he made a mistake and he's paying for it. 80 freaking games. Can't believe it. So when it rains, it freaking pours. And, I was hoping to never see Kevin Kiermaier and George Springer in the same lineup again because we just cannot afford to have both their bats in the lineup. But nope, Dalton Varsho decides to get injured, so that is now the case. But luckily, he should be back soon. It was just a tweak little back, so hopefully it's not too long, and, he's going to be available if we need him. And now, if you haven't already, I know the entire city has, and we've written off this team. And we're completely fed up, and that's valid. I'm with you. I feel your pain, and I completely understand. I mean, this team, the way it is, we can't win a World Series, and that's just plain fact. We need to make changes, and I'm honestly shocked. After 2 sweeps in a row, nothing was done. I was hoping, and I'm sure we all were, that it was going to be the last time we ever saw John Schneider in a Blue Jays uniform, but that's still the case. And, would it really do anything this year? Firing any one of those 3 idiots is not going to save our season. But the one thing that it sure would tell your fans is that you care, is that you're trying to do something and you're showing them that, hey, we're trying. But instead, the priority of the franchise, drum roll please, is Salsa Bowls. Because not only do you have to pay more money to go to a game than ever before to see this team play baseball, but you have to go through the agony of carrying around a damn salsa bowl for the next 4 to 5 hours of your life. But by all means, if this is something we can rally behind, I'm all for it. So let's go salsa bowls. But all right, let's get into last night's game, because after losing 7 games in a row, we finally won a game. We finally did it, because it wasn't pretty. There were a ton of errors, but who fucking cares? We won. Let's start with the pitching, because we had Kevin Gausman and Brayan Bello dueling it out in Boston. Now, if you've never been to Boston, please make it part of your bucket list, because that is one of the coolest ballparks in the entire world. One of the coolest professional stadiums in the entire world. I got to see the Jays play back when they actually had a good team. We swept them when I went. And please do it. Please go. You're going to have the best time ever. But yeah, kicking it off, second game in Boston. Kevin Gausman, he came out buzzing, going 3 up, 3 down. And I really was liking what I saw, because he was struggling all year up and down with velocity, which is weird, but he established the fastball early and worked the ball throughout the zone, effectively. And it showed. He had one, 3 up, 3 down inning. Hopeful for a good start at this point. It did not last long, because everything he did great in the first inning just fell apart in the second. First guy up to bat, Devers. And Danny Jansen, he wanted that pitch inside. You saw him. He was begging for it. What does Gausman do? Misses it. Leaves it way too far over the plate, middle in. And Devers is gonna destroy that baseball. Next batter up, these errors are still killing us because Vladdy drops a pop-up. And I'm sorry, but, yeah, Vladdy was calling for it. But George Springer in right field, you are a veteran outfielder, and you are still one of the best defensive outfielders. I will give you that. Let's not talk about the hitting, but you're still great in the outfield. And, yeah, sure, Vladdy's calling it, but if you see him continuously backpedal and like, oh shit, he's speeding up more and more, call him off. Please, just call him off. That's one thing that I kind of get sick and tired of in the MLB is so many of these infielders love to play balls halfway in the outfield. I'm like, dude, you have outfielders who have the ball right in front of them, who literally get paid for catching fly balls. Just George, call him off, please. But I mean, he dropped it. Guy went on to third base, and the next batter up again. Danny was asking you, Kevin, to throw the ball inside. What'd you do? You missed it over the middle of the plate. Again, double RBI. But luckily, he got out of that inning with only 2 runs. But personally, I really think something's not right with Kevin Gausman. I have never, ever, at least on the Jays, have seen him with such inconsistent deliveries. His fastball is varying 7 miles an hour, which is nuts. Usually it's a couple, sure, here and there. But he's ranging from 90 to 97 out of complete thin air. You don't know what's coming. And, his splitter's almost a different pitch every single time. It's not that typical Kevin Gausman wipeout splitter that we've, become accustomed to. I was really trying to dive deep into his mechanics last night, and I was noticing quite a bit because when Gauss is on, you'll notice that his follow-through has a nice whip across his body. And no matter what the pitch was, like that's his follow through. And especially on that splitter, that's what allows him to get that hard spin to cut down and in and get that strikeout pitch. But he was honestly trying to aim pitches way too often. I know when you start to, struggle with command, you just don't follow through and you try to place that pitch almost. But you gotta stay a pitcher. You have to trust your mechanics and follow through on that baseball every single time. And it was just not a good release. And I don't think he was trusting his mechanics as much as he should have. Not often, but sometimes I did see him get caught not shifting his weight very well either. Kind of staying on that back foot. Again, might have had something to do with just placing these pitches. But when he did really follow through and drove through that baseball, he was touching 97 and he was back to being typical Kevin Gausman. But when, he kind of left that back foot a little too planted on the ground sometimes and didn't get that solid drive off of the mound with a solid follow through, it was showing on velocity, pitch spin, and movement and location. So that's something that Pete Walker is going to be diving into big time because this is not like what the MLB was calling one of the only true aces left in the league. And the last thing that I did notice, which was one of the biggest things that I thought we were going to get completely burned on, was his arm slot. From fastball to splitter, it was not in the same spot. It was not repeatable, and there was quite a difference. If I was picking it out easily on TV, I thought these Red Sox were going to pick up fastballs and splitters like no tomorrow, and this game could have easily been the other way. They could have knocked Kevin Gausman out in the 3rd inning because I thought they were going to pick up on that arm slot and release point and really determine what pitch he was going to throw and just sit on certain pitches. So that's something Kevin really has to focus on right now. I don't know what's going on. And, a lot of pitchers, even Garrett Cole, I know he came back off of injury. Kevin Gausman started with an injury. Cole got lit up last night. He gave up 4 home runs without a strikeout, and his velocity was down to 91, 92, 93 from a guy that throws similar to Gauss and harder. So is it the pitch count? Is it decreasing an extra 2 seconds this year? Is it adding more wear and tear on the body? Are these guys not in shape? Is it because they're a little older? There's so many variables going on that I don't know what's quite going on with Kevin, but there's something not right, and hopefully they can figure it out. But thank God that, we had a hot 3rd inning and put up a 7 spot, which ultimately switched the momentum in the game, allowing Gauss to find some sort of rhythm and, feed off the Sox down bad. Like, he got through 6 innings, allowing only 4. Gave up another home run in the 4th inning. But hey, it's not a bad outing, and I'm super happy that we could get the win for Kevin because that's something that he needed. But this is when the game really started because now the Red Sox had us right where they wanted us, down by 5 with the bullpen coming in the game. Little was first up, and he came out hot, sitting down the first 2 guys, but he was dealing with the top of the order now, and he was starting to struggle with command. Now, I will take struggling with command when it's not leaving them with hittable pitches in the zone. He was throwing them, too low and in the ground in the dirt with his off-speed, sweeping slider, but he ended up getting through it. He had to walk 2 guys in a row, and he was relying heavily on that sweeping slider, but they just weren't biting on that pitch. He kept going to it, and when you can't command it, anytime they see that pitch coming, they're just going to lay off. Brought up Devers to the plate with 2 on and a chance to make this a brand new ball game, a 2-run game, but luckily he came through with a massive strikeout, ending the inning with no blood. Trevor Richards came in next, sat him down in order with a couple Ks, by far the most steady guy in the bullpen. I think we can all agree on that. But what a weird changeup that was from Richards last night. We are used to seeing a ball that comes, right over the top and breaks down to the right in the zone. And this ball was breaking to the left. So that was a little weird by Richards, but I'm sure it worked to his advantage since, you're expecting one pitch and the changeup's coming, but when it reacts a different way, probably helped him out a little bit too. And then Chad Green was up in the 9th inning and same thing, shut the Sox down in order with a strikeout to end the game. Our bullpen was actually great last night. Coming off a tough loss the night before, obviously 5-run comeback from Boston, but we had 0 runs, no hits, which is big. Only 2 walks from Little, which were those back-to-back walks, but he came back, and 5 Ks combined. So much needed group effort from the pitchers tonight. That is something to build on. Now let's move to the offense because Bo Bichette, first game back in the lineup from a strained strained calf, hitting leadoff, starts the game off swinging first pitch. Bo, how long were you waiting? What, 2 weeks went by? Not even. You were itching to swing at that first pitch. I know you were. Everyone knew it was coming. And why not start the game off with a strikeout? Because that pitch you struck out on, there was 0 effort in trying to hold back that swing. And it didn't happen just once. It happened twice in the game where you had a check swing and it just looked like you could not care less to try and hold that bat back. I don't know what's going on with Bo, but he's a player that we need to bounce back from something. I don't know what's going on in that guy's head. I know everyone sees it. He is not showing up to a game with the right attitude, and something's got to change because if he starts, he's not going to get back to where he was last year, but if he gets a glimpse of what he was and what he is and what he can be, we need it now more than ever. Let's see. But yeah, not much going on in the first 2 innings. And after watching Boston put up 2 in the second and seeing how Goz was playing seeing how he was pitching at the start of the game, I thought we were in for another long night. But to all of our surprise, we put up 7 freaking runs. Order all the way through. We showed patience. We showed resiliency. We put good swings on balls, and we even had a little bit of lady luck on our side. Let's go to the 3rd inning and kind of break that down a little bit because Danny Jansen started things off, leadoff batter, leadoff double. And what was one of the best things of the inning was IKF first pitch bunt. Guys were kind of playing in on third base, but he caught him off guard. He forced an error. He beat that throw out to first base. And you see what happens when you play some good, hard, aggressive small ball? Sure, it's not always going to work, but you give the opposing team a chance to make an error, and that we did. I would have really enjoyed it if IKF would have stole second base at some point during that next at bat to get second and third, no out. But hey, things started to work out because we had Kevin Kiermaier, him and George, 2 guys that have been getting on their case. He came up with what should have been a ground out, but we had some lady luck, and we had a ground ball that led to the outfield. Wild throw from the outfield to Cash IKF, put Kevin on third base, and see what happens when you force your opponent. Bo had a full count walk, was about the only thing he did all game, but hey, he got on base, didn't get an easy out for them. And then Horwitz walked, so we had bases loaded with Vladimir Guerrero and his new haircut. And if you watched my last video, you would have saw that I predicted Vladdy was close to heating up. And what has he been doing the last couple games? 3 home runs in 5 games, comes up to the plate, bases loaded, absolutely crushes a baseball, line drive, deep center, right off the wall, cashes 2 runs. Guy's been swinging an amazing bat. He looks like the Vladdy we have seen in the past. His patience in the box has gotten so much better. He's not biting at those first pitch spinners out of the zone. He's taking walks and he's putting good swings on baseballs. Vladdy, good to have you back, bud. I cannot wait to watch where this goes. And let's keep hitting balls out of the park. Turner, next up, hit to first base. Bobbled it. They ended up getting 1 out there, but Turner, RBI. Next guy up, George Springer. The announcers were saying, it'd be nice if George put a deep fly ball out there, cash a run, get some good juju going for his mental game. What does he do? He hits a deep fly ball. And it just keeps going and going and going and gone. Springer, dinger, 2 home runs. Knocked Brian Bayo out of the game. We put up 7. What an inning that was. That just completely shifted the momentum in the game. And, next inning, same thing. 2 more runs. We had Kevin Kiermaier again hits it in the perfect spot. Deep hole and shortstop. Manages to beat out the throw. Really, there wasn't a throw, but gets on base. Horwitz, another timely walk. He had 2 huge walks that night. And then I don't think I have ever seen such a big hop from a ground ball, but Vladdy hits a chopper right over Devers' head down the third base line, ends up on third base, cashing 2 more runs. What a night it was for Vladdy at the plate. 4 RBIs. That was just awesome. Let me just get caught up back with my notes. All right. But yeah, 4 RBI night for Vladdy. And after that, though, I gotta tip my cap to Winkowski. Because that was one of the only bright sides of the Red Sox. Yeah, they put up 4, put a couple good swings on balls. But he pitched great. After allowing those 2 runs in the 4th inning, he gave the Red Sox all the 6 innings that they needed to finish the game. 8 strikeouts, only 1 walk. I'm sure Alex Cora would have loved to see that. Saved a lot of arms, which could have been a nasty game for the Boston bullpen. So, tip of the cap to Winkowski, because that was just a solid performance, shutting us down for the rest of the game. But yeah, we got the win. That's all we needed. We broke the streak. We're going for a series win tonight. What more can we ask for? Right now, we're 6.5 games back of a wild card. Sure, it's a long shot, but we're going to stay positive here, because if Schneider can manage not to completely cock it up day in and day out, this team has hit the lowest of lows. Our pitching has gone to shit. Our batting order has not been worse. We've had untimely injuries, terrible coaching, and everything in between. We've gone through it all. There's only one way now, and that is up. Because Varsho looks like he'll be back soon, which can hopefully keep one of KK or one of Kevin or Springer out of the lineup. I know they had good games last night, which is fantastic, but we can't keep having both of these guys in the lineup. One at most, and then bring the other guy in at the end of the game if we need a defensive substitute. But if we can do that, that's going to be a bright spot for our team. Vladdy is heating up, just like I predicted. Turner is looking more confident at the plate. He's bringing his average back up, and he's putting better swings on balls. If Danny can stop pulling balls a mile down the left side and straighten it out into the field, he's putting good contact on balls. That'll help. Horwitz is taking elite at-bats. IKF is still the best player on this team. Barger is swinging it well. He is a major league ready hitter, not so much defensively. So if we can, groom him to be an outfielder, which is where I think he's going to have the most success in the bigs, he's going to be a good guy to have on the team. And the guy that we so desperately need is Bo Bichette. Start showing that you care. Start having some fun again. I can't remember the last time I've seen you smile on the field. We need you to perform. And I think you got to take a page out of Vladdy's book because you need a haircut. And let's see if that's something that can bring you back to what we know you can do. And let's keep giving these pitchers some run support. It's a hell of a lot easier to go out there with the lead. And I mean, a lot of teams are not having good seasons. So a few good weeks of baseball gets us right back in the hunt. Next game is tonight at 7:10. We got Rodriguez coming off a tough game last start. I mean, he looked good. It was one error that screwed everything up. That fly ball, which started the beginning of the end. Hopefully he comes out dealing again. We need a good performance from him tonight versus Crawford, who's 3-7, and at least he's not a lefty. We can't hit lefties, but he's a righty. 3.5 ERA. I mean, he's still a good arm. Let's get to him again. Let's just keep it going. I mean, like I said, we've hit the lowest of lows. There's nowhere else to go but up. I can't see this team getting any worse than they just were. So let's stay positive. At least our expectations are not up here anymore. We know what we got this season. So let's go for a series win tonight. Let's have some fun. And thank you again for watching. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see y'all again next time. We're going to go on a little bit of a heater here. This is episode number 30. We got 30 podcasts in the book. I'm going to try to get a lot more coming your way. We're going for at least half of the games this season. So I got some catching up to do. Let's have some fun. Let's grow this channel. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you again for watching, and have a great rest of your day.